I didn't blow up on that hill because I was weak. I blew up because I misunderstood something so fundamental, so invisible, that it cost me the entire race. And once I saw it, I could never run hills the same way again. I didn't lose that race because I was out of shape. That's what makes it unsettling. Mile 16, a long, steady climb. Not steep enough to scare you on the elevation chart, just enough to drain you slowly. I remember glancing at my watch and seeing my pace slip. Just a few seconds. My instinct was immediate. Push harder. Don't lose time. Don't fall behind. My heart rate spiked. My breathing turned sharp. By the time I reached the top, something inside me had shifted from control to survival, and I never got it back. Here's the part that haunted me. I had done the work, the long runs, the tempo sessions, the nutrition plan. On paper, I was ready. So why did the hills dismantle me? That question stayed with me long after the soreness faded. It wasn't about toughness. It wasn't about discipline. It felt deeper than that. Almost mechanical. Almost mathematical. If you've ever felt strong on flat roads but mysteriously unraveled on rolling terrain, this is going to matter to you. Before we go further, subscribe to the channel if you want deeper, science-driven insights like this. It helps support the work and keeps these conversations going. Because what I eventually discovered wasn't motivational, it was physics. That's when I started asking a different question. Not, why wasn't I strong enough, but what was I not seeing? For years, I had reduced running to two clean numbers, distance and pace. 10 miles, 8-minute pace, 20 kilometers, 5:30 per kilometer. It felt measurable, controllable. If I could hold the number, I was improving. If I couldn't, I needed to train harder. But there was a third variable shaping every run, and I had been treating it like background noise, elevation. I used to look at rolling terrain and think of it as a minor inconvenience, a small bump in an otherwise straightforward workout. What I didn't understand was that the moment the road tilts upward, the rules change. Gravity adds a vertical cost to every stride. Oxygen demand rises. Energy expenditure accelerates. The same pace no longer represents the same effort. And yet, I was stubbornly trying to make it so. I trained as if the earth were flat. I evaluated myself as if every mile were identical. When the course changed, I expected my body to obey the watch instead of the laws of physics. The problem wasn't that I lacked discipline. It was that I misunderstood the terrain. Once I accepted that terrain wasn't neutral, I began to see that not all courses demand the same kind of runner. Some routes climb relentlessly from start to finish. On those, speed becomes secondary to raw power. Your posture changes, your stride shortens, and your cardiovascular system works overtime just to maintain forward motion. Trying to force a flat ground pace there is like arguing with gravity. Then there are net downhill courses. They look generous on paper, almost forgiving, but the damage accumulates quietly. Your quads act as brakes, absorbing force step after step. You may not feel breathless, yet the muscular cost compounds beneath the surface. Flat courses, though, are different. They're honest. On flat ground, effort and output align cleanly. If your heart rate drifts upward steadily, it tells you something real about fatigue or conditioning. There's no terrain distortion. And then there are rolling courses, the most deceptive of all. Constant small climbs and descents, subtle shifts that tempt you to react instead of regulate. That's where I had been exposed. I wasn't failing randomly. I was applying the wrong strategy to the wrong geometry. Why strong runners walk Boston? And when I started looking at iconic races through that lens, something clicked in a way that was hard to ignore. Take Boston, for example, or Athens. These aren't obscure trail ultras. They're historic road marathons filled with experienced, well-trained athletes. Every year, runners who have logged the miles, followed structured plans, and proven their fitness on flat courses find themselves reduced to a shuffle in the final stretch. For a long time, I assumed they simply misjudged their conditioning. Maybe they went out too fast. Maybe their fueling was off. But the deeper I studied those courses, the more obvious it became. The terrain isn't random. It's cumulative. It rewards restraint early and punishes ego late. Those courses don't defeat runners because they lack strength. They expose runners who treat every mile as equal. When I replayed my own collapse in that context, it stopped feeling personal and started feeling predictable. I had tried to impose laboratory precision onto terrain that demanded strategic variation. I wasn't unlucky. I was rigid. And on rolling courses, rigidity is expensive. If rigidity was the problem, then I needed a structure that allowed flexibility without losing control. That's when I stopped thinking in miles and started thinking in loops. I train often in a large park where one full circuit is almost exactly 4 kilometers. Before, I would break it down kilometer by kilometer, reacting emotionally to every split. Now I do something different. If my goal pace is 6 minutes per kilometer, I multiply 4 kilometers times 6 minutes, 24 minutes. That becomes my only target. Not the first uphill split, not the fast downhill stretch, just the loop. Something shifted when I did that. The course stopped feeling like a series of threats and started feeling like a closed system. I knew that whatever elevation I gained, I would eventually give back. That simple mathematical truth gave me permission to distribute effort instead of defend pace. On climbs, I allowed myself to lose seconds without panic. On descents, I reclaimed them intentionally. When I crossed the starting point again and saw 24 minutes on my watch, it felt precise, not forced. For the first time, the terrain wasn't controlling me. I was working with it. But understanding the math wasn't enough. I had to change how I behaved on the hill itself. I started noticing something almost embarrassing. The way I ran uphill looked exactly like how I drive. When the road tilts up and I want to maintain speed, I instinctively press harder on the gas pedal. More fuel, more output. Hold the number steady. That's what I had been doing with my body. The moment my pace slowed on a climb, I reacted. I pushed. I forced it back to the target. And every time, my heart rate surged, my breathing sharpened, my energy cost spiked far beyond what that split was worth. So I flipped it. On the uphill, I stopped defending speed, I locked into effort. Instead, I kept my breathing controlled, my stride compact, and I allowed the pace to drift. It felt counterintuitive at first, almost lazy, but my heart rate stayed contained. My energy stayed stable. Then came the descent. Instead of coasting in relief, I leaned in. Slight forward angle, quick cadence, controlled aggression. I regained the seconds where gravity helped rather than fought me. That's when I finally understood the difference between running like a car and running like a living system. One burns fuel to protect speed. The other protects fuel to protect performance. And yet, even with that strategy in place, there was one more opponent I had to confront, the watch on my wrist. I didn't realize how much power those split notifications had over me. Every vibration was a judgment. Every slower number felt like a small failure. On rolling terrain, that meant I was constantly reacting. Uphill split too slow. Push. Did the downhill split too fast? Brake. I wasn't running the course, I was negotiating with a screen. The problem wasn't the data. It was my interpretation of it. When I shifted to loop-based thinking, I had to retrain my emotional response. Seeing a slower uphill pace no longer meant I was falling apart. It meant I was respecting the terrain. That subtle psychological shift changed everything. My breathing stayed calmer because my mind stayed calmer. My decisions became intentional instead of defensive. What surprised me most was how much energy anxiety consumes. The panic of losing time costs more than the seconds themselves. Once I stopped chasing every split and focused on the broader objective, I felt steadier, almost detached from the noise. Hills don't just test your legs, they expose how well you manage pressure. And that realization forced me to confront something deeper about how I defined strength. For years, I believed toughness meant attacking every incline, refusing to yield even a second. If the hill slowed me down, I saw it as a challenge to overpower power. But that mindset was rooted in ego, not intelligence. I was trying to prove something instead of protecting something. What hills taught me is that performance isn't about dominance, it's about distribution. Energy is finite. Glycogen is finite. The body is not an endless engine waiting for more fuel. It's a biological system that rewards efficiency and punishes excess. True strength, I've come to believe, is restraint under pressure. It's holding effort steady when the terrain tempts you to surge. It's trusting that patience early preserves power late. Hills don't demand aggression. They demand respect. And once I stopped trying to conquer them, I finally learned how to run them well. Once I began approaching hills with respect instead of resistance, the results weren't dramatic at first, but they were undeniable. My heart rate charts looked different. Instead of sharp spikes on every climb, the line stayed smoother, more controlled. I crested hills without that desperate surge of breath. More importantly, I reached the latter miles of long runs with something left. Not just physically, but mentally. I wasn't negotiating with fatigue. I was managing it. The most surprising change wasn't speed, it was confidence. I stopped fearing elevation profiles. When I reviewed a race course, I no longer saw threats. I saw sections to allocate energy. Looking back, the hills never sabotaged me. They simply exposed my misunderstanding. I had been trying to force sameness onto terrain that demanded variation. Once I aligned my strategy with the course, the collapse that once felt mysterious became preventable. And that shift from confusion to clarity changed how I run every race. And if there's one idea I hope stays with you after this, it's this. Hills are not the enemy. The next time you look at a course map and see those jagged lines, don't feel intimidated. Get curious. Ask yourself where the energy will be expensive and where it will be economical. Think in systems, not splits. Think in loops, not miles. Let your pace float when gravity demands it. Let your stride open when gravity offers help. Protect your fuel the way you would protect something finite, because it is. Running isn't just about how strong your legs are or how high your tolerance for discomfort might be. It's about understanding the environment you're moving through. When you stop trying to dominate the terrain and start cooperating with it, something shifts. You don't just survive the hills, you use them. And that, for me, is where smart running truly begins. Looking back, the real lesson wasn't about hills at all. It was about awareness. I had been measuring progress with numbers while ignoring context. Once I understood that terrain changes the cost of effort, I stopped reacting emotionally and started thinking strategically. The deeper lesson is this: not every situation in life demands constant speed. Some moments require restraint. Some allow acceleration. Wisdom is knowing the difference. When we regulate effort instead of obsessing over outcomes, we last longer, perform better, and burn out less. I'm curious, have you ever pushed harder in a tough moment when slowing down might have been smarter? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if this perspective helped you, subscribe to the channel to support more thoughtful, science-driven content like this.